What's your burlesque stage name and why did you choose it?
So my burlesque stage name is the Diamond Dahlia, and that was because I had a kind of obsession with the dark side of the golden era of Hollywood. So you had, the glamorous MGM musicals, and then you had the casting couch, and then you had the murders. So my name is based off a kind of contrast of the two. So the diamond for the bright, glittery side of Hollywood, and then Dahlia based around the Black Dahlia, who was Elizabeth Short, a lady who was murdered and left in two pieces.
So it's not a flower?
She used to wear a white dahlia in her hair, which is how she got her namesake of the Black Dahlia.
A bit more lighthearted, this one. PVC or lace?
Oh, PVC. I have a costume that's all PVC and I love it.
Describe your performance style in 3 words.
3 words. Badass bitch.
Love that. What's the first thing you would take off on stage?
Oh, well, I mean, it depends on the costume. Usually a glove is a good warmer-upper for the crowd, Get them like, here's my fingers, here's my hand, hi. You need to scream for that because nothing else is coming off if you don't.
Do you get people into the feet as well?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely people into the feet too. I had a guy at one point wanting to send me Adidas slides because he wanted to know that my feet were always comfortable after shows.
It's not good for a burlesque performance though.
No, it was like, that's definitely not like my vibe of a shoe at all either, so.
The lower the heel, the closer to hell.
Yes, I've never heard that.
I heard the higher the heel, the closer to heaven.
The higher the hair, the closer to God, but the lower the heel, the closer to hell.
That's not where we want to go. Can art ever not be political? Just a little, small question I prepared earlier. That isn't that deep.
I think within the realms of burlesque, no, because feminine form or even a male form on stage, taking their clothes off in, any manner is a political act in its own, or portraying a body in any form that goes against what general society would say is okay, fully clothed and neat.
Yeah.
That's a political act in its own. So
who would be your dream audience member who you'd be crushing on quite hard?
Oh, well, I'm just gonna have to say Henry Cavill because I was obsessed with The Witcher and dreams, lots of dreams.
He doesn't do it for me.
Something for everyone, okay?
I don't know.
He doesn't do it for me normally, but as The Witcher, yes, I am a fantasy book girly as well. So
I think in The Witcher I can get on board with it. He's a bit more like
yeah. It's the growl. The growl.
I don't want smart Henry Cavill.
I don't need smart.
Yeah.
He's just he just be pretty. That's all we need.
Just your meat, Henry,
pretty
please.
And growl. Exactly.
Okay. Dee, welcome to Sexonomic.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. I am delighted to have you in the studio today. And I was saying to you earlier that there's a slight comfort to having a fellow dancer in the studio because I'm wondering how much of our kind of distant but kind of similar experiences are similar and where's the variations and how do we feel about different things. Because obviously I did a touch of burlesque but I then went into stripping, so it's like a very distant cousin.
Not even too distant, I'd say.
Well, I know that the burlesque community, like, it is a craft and it's artistry and stripping is not that. It's more kind of just a sales job, as you said earlier off camera, and burlesque is art.
I would say it's like an artistic version and stripping is more of a sales job because we don't have to do that when we go into a club. Like that's not what we have to do when we're up there. But you wouldn't have like burlesque resurgence without stripping. You wouldn't have stripping without burlesque. So they're kind of, intrinsically intertwined and should, have equal respect for each art form as they are.
Well, I guess maybe it's helpful to give the audience some kind of delineation of the differences between the two.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And they are two, different things in the way that they've come out as they stand now as industries. So, burlesque probably focuses more on like the costuming side or more of a performance art side of it. But I know amazing strippers that also have that in their like nightly work as well. So it's that, you know, thing. What would you say the difference is between the two from your side of things?
You're definitely playing a bit more on the male gaze, and it's a little bit more kind of, you know, would I say like high pressure towards the man? Like, you have to engage with the customer and talk to them, and if they're interested in just talking to you and not paying, you cut them off instantly and walk away. So I guess it's got more cuntiness in, I suppose. But then again, like burlesque, I think has a lot of cuntiness in too.
Definitely. But I think like I wouldn't be able to like sell myself in that way. I think it's such an art form in its own, like being able to go up and talk to a customer, and like I'm like way too socially awkward.
Don't tell me you're shy.
I am. This is the thing, burlesque, everyone's like away from you. Like there's kind of a barrier between you and an audience generally, even if you're on the same level. So it's like there is that disconnect, whereas you need to be engaging with your audience, but there is definitely like a wall.
Okay, interesting. Generally, like, what do we say the difference is then, if we can clarify it for the audience? Suppose burlesque is more of a act that you prepare and you perform and you craft for months, and it is you on a stage and there's an audience watching you. And I guess there's more of a historical element of striptease that feeds into it, and then stripping is hardcore capitalism and saying, look, if you want to see me naked, pay some money.
I mean, that's a good way to, like, that's a good way to say it.
In simple terms, what is the art of burlesque?
So the art of burlesque is generally a theatrical style performance, usually including some kind of dance and costuming that usually culminates in a striptease. The word burlesque originated from the word burlesco, which is about kind of poking fun at society. So it's flipping society on its face and showing it back to it in a way that you're laughing at it.
Satire,
yeah.
And what specifically are you doing up there? I mean, I've seen plenty of burlesque performances, but I kind of have to interview you like I've never seen one before to help the audience understand. But what's going on up there?
I mean, it very much depends on the act. That is for sure. You have anything from like a classic striptease, so you're using props like feather fans and boas,
which you've got behind you.
I have behind me. This is my Muppet.
Oh, I love that.
She's traveled a lot and been around for a very long time, and she still works her ass off every Saturday night. But you're using either classic elements of burlesque art form like feather fans and boas to mask and reveal, or then you're doing something that is weird and political and poking fun at, you know, gender, form, costuming, to entertain.
Is it a type of energy that anyone can access to, or is it more of a calling to specific people who probably have that energy more than others?
I think with any kind of performer or performance, like, you are called to it. You know, I've been a performer my whole life. I started dancing when I was 3. Like, all I've ever wanted is to be in front of an audience. And I think that's, in a way, something you can't learn, and it's just, you know, in you as a person. But that being said, you can still learn the skills and grow in that way if it's not something that you're, you know, particularly called to. But I think there generally does have to be, with any performer, some kind of inherent want or need to be up there in front of people, or else it'd be terrifying.
When did you realise you had the performer gene?
When I came out of the womb, probably. Like, I was that kid that was like... I was that like kid that was like constantly putting on shows for their family and like dressing up and, you know, singing, dancing, doing everything that I could to get attention in that way.
Yeah, makes sense, because like people who are performers, they can be shy and they can be more confident, but they do always know from a young age, and they have this feeling of kind of when they walk into a room, I guess they can sense like this idea of, you know, there's a star quality that is drawn to them and they don't really know why, but this thing is attracting to them and people are interested in them, and it's not something you can put your finger on. I think it often correlates to when you look at celebrity and fame and what you would call a quintessential star. You know, it's this idea of this thing you can't put your finger on, but you were kind of born to do it because you have this magnetic pull on people. What do you think that actually is?
Mental illness of some kind. I don't know. Like, I always think of it like, why would I choose to be putting myself in a vulnerable position where you're up on stage in front of hundreds of people partially naked? Like, what is the drive behind that? And it's just like, I have no answer. That's just what I want to do. Like, that's just what I wanted to do with my life, and I can't imagine not doing it, you know?
I guess everything is a choice at the end of the day, but I think with things like that, it's a pull, it's a calling, as we said.
It's a calling. It's the universe telling you this is what you must do. Get them titties out.
Okay. When were you like, I need to be a burlesque dancer, I need to feed this energy that I have, this inner performer, into being a burlesque dancer?
Well, I always wanted to be Brody Dale from the Distillers and be a punk singer. And I still do play in bands and that kind of thing. But when I sing and play keys and kind of put my hand to whatever I can. But I was also obsessed with like Marilyn Monroe. So when I turned 18, I had a friend whose girlfriend, it was one of the early revival burlesque performers in the neo scene in Australia, called Lola the Vamp.
I love the name.
Yeah, great name.
Yeah.
For my 18th birthday, I was given lessons with her. And I was kind of like, okay, this is it. I'm set. Like,
what was it that you were feeding off specifically from burlesque?
I think it was because I could put everything that I would work on for all those years, so all the acting training, all the dance training, all the, you know, vocal training, which I do when I host, I sing. You could put that all in one art form, and I got to wear rhinestones and big costumes and be flamboyant and ridiculous, and, you know, I designed my own clothes at the time, so I got to do that too. And it was like, oh, this is this thing that's driven completely by me, that I don't need to rely on anyone else to do. I can just get in and go. And it was, you know, ticked all the boxes.
Do you think it's the most rawest form of expression you've come across, like the best outlet?
For me, yes. I think it lets me use all the things that I do in the most pure way. So it's, I can control every element of what I do, and, you know, I can get up on stage and do something that's come out of my mind when I've been like walking home at night, like, oh, that's a fun song. Oh, what if I did this? Oh, I can do that. And then you can just pour it out and put it on a stage and entertain people.
I think with creative people who do have expression and an outlet to channel that, you know, it's kind of lucky for them because they get to have this space to play, try different things. If they're frustrated, they can always pour into that. If they're sad, if they're happy, they can turn to that thing, whether it's music, dancing, acting, writing, whatever it is. And I often think when people don't have that, because people definitely don't ever find their thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's something you don't take up as a career, just something for you to enjoy. Like, what does your life look like?
Where does that go?
I know we have it.
But what do you do then? Is that where trolls on the internet are born? Like,
I think
you don't have somewhere to pour that energy. Like,
I think
what does
so.
one do?
I think like a lot of hatred, especially when you look at people who are like, ugh, gay people, ugh, people, ugh, this and that. It's because you are not allowed to do that. You've said you've not given yourself permission to do that, so you're going to take it out on other people.
It's jealousy.
Exactly. DD. Why do you think as well things like this, like performing, burlesque, cabaret even, why do you think it gets camp, and why do you think camp is even a word?
I think you can't have one without the other. Like, because most of what we do, I think, especially with burlesque in the way that I perform it anyway, I really feel that a portrayal of femininity like I do on stage is a form of drag. You know, it's fun, it's loud, it's bright. It's kind of disassociating from the grey world outside that we unfortunately are in, you know. So you kind of can't have our world without camp.
But it's interesting that there's a word for just existing. Do you know what camp?
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy we have the word. There's nothing wrong with the word, but it's just interesting that there's segregation of, oh, that's camp.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's fun, okay? Sorry.
What's the difference between cabaret and burlesque?
They live within the same world, but I think...
and Liza Minnelli, she's obviously cabaret.
Exactly. So they live within the same world. I think I would probably more define burlesque as the art form of striptease, which is how we see it now. It didn't always used to be that way. Back in the early days of burlesque theatres, you would have comedians, you would have the straight man and his comedic sides. You'd have, the chorus, which would be doing non-striptease acts, and then you'd have striptease acts. So they kind of all exist within the same realm, but specifically burlesque, I would say, is primarily the element of striptease is what makes it different.
I guess then we move on to the subject of nudity, don't we? Because this is part of, you know, burlesque and its world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an ironic question for me to ask, but do you ever get nervous taking your clothes off in front of strangers?
Sometimes, yes. I think,
Still?
Yeah, because...
And how long have you been doing it for?
Well, yeah, I've been doing this since 2008. I did my first show.
And you still sometimes get a bit nervous?
Still sometimes, yeah. I think also because, you know, being a woman, going through from the age of 18 to now I'm 36, your body goes through changes. Like, you can't deny that. You can't change that. And I have pictures of my body, you know, every weekend for how many years. So sometimes, you know, I'm not feeling great about how I look and not, you know, in that mood where I'm kind of like, I have the effort energy and I'm, you know, happy about it. But you go out on stage and usually you'll get someone come up to you after that show that you're not feeling good about, and they'll be like, oh, I'm so happy that I saw you on stage, you know, you made me feel seen.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. So you can still be, I think if you're not nervous, then you're getting slightly complacent in a way.
I didn't so much have photos because they would be arrested if they were taking photos without my consent, and they would end up in the Thames by moi.
Good.
But there's naturally, like when I've danced before, there's lots of mirrors. So you're constantly seeing yourself in the mirror. And there's constantly someone who next to you, you think they've got the perfect body.
Exactly.
And they look this way. And even if you're having a good night where people, in your case, are clapping and cheering for you, or you're making like money in my field, you know, it doesn't matter because you still sometimes have insecurities.
Of course. And it's an internal thing. And I don't think like you can just turn that off.
You do become desensitized though.
You become desensitized to a point.
Yeah, like when I remember being a teenager, if someone insulted my looks, I would be so upset. If a grandma said, oh, you've gained a few pounds, I'm like, that's it, we're going on a diet. But now, like, of course people still say odd things and whatnot, and it teaches me really not to care anymore.
I mean, I think any time someone says something to you, it's generally coming from a point of like their own internal insecurities.
Of course.
So as we kind of age and go through like the industries that we're in, you see where that's coming from more and more, but it doesn't take away the moments where like I was talking to a therapist one time and she was like, she was like, how do you feel about body positivity? And I'm like, well, it's only body positivity if you feel positive about it. Some days you're allowed to feel crap about it. Yeah. That's okay. Like,
neutral is the better word.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, it's unrealistic, you know, to have a positive relationship with your body all the time. It's just not realistic.
It's not realistic. I mean, I wish I could be that person that did. That would be great.
There's
I don't
not
know
a
if they
human in the
exist.
planet.
Yeah, like you can say that you do all you want, but sometimes I think, you know, being realistic, it's just some days you're going to feel better about yourself than others, and that's normal.
So obviously this relationship with yourself and your body and being on stage, I can imagine the kind of crowd you get in burlesque audiences. They're a lot more like cheery, friendly, want to build you up, that kind of thing. But I guess you come across one or two people who maybe they're not as kind as the others. Like, how do you deal when they might give you a backhanded compliment or they say something off colour?
There will always be someone that comes up to you and gives you unwanted advice from a background of having no knowledge of what you do. Usually a drunk audience member.
Are they male or female usually?
It's 90% of the time being female.
Really?
Yeah, with my personal experience anyway. But there'll always be someone who wants to say something, you know? Like, usually alcohol is involved. I usually just smile, say, okay, thank you, and then walk away.
You really want to lay into people and tell them what you think, but you can't because you want to go back and get the business.
You have to be professional as well. Like, you know, usually you're working for a promoter, you're working for a show, you're portraying their brand when you're talking with patrons around the show, and, you know, you don't want to start nonsense for them that they have to deal with. But, you know, I've had someone complain about my act particularly to a promoter before, saying pretty much they just hated the idea that women were taking their clothes off in front of a crowd, and they said it was demeaning to women. And I'm like, okay, that's
why
hilarious.
Are you there?
Right. But then the promoter like fought back for me and really like went in on this person. So it's like sometimes people are just gonna have opinions, and you just have to like shoulder it, ignore it, or like fight back when you need to fight back.
I think that's such a good point you made. Like, you like in these pockets where, you know, women are putting themselves in a bit of a more vulnerable position of nudity, you need to have the establishment or whoever you're in collaboration with fighting for you.
Absolutely.
And that's the best places I've worked. I've worked the longest. Like, I remember one time I was doing a dance and they tell you you're not allowed to touch before you go in. There's signs, and then often as the dancer they ask and I say, no, sorry, you're not allowed to touch. And this guy tried to touch my boob one day, and I had the white PVC boots on, and just without thinking I got my boot and I smashed it into his lip.
Good.
And then the blood was running out of his lip, and he ran over to my manager saying, she kicked me. And he said, okay, I want to bring you here. Brought him in front of the CCTV, and both me and this guy were watching it with my manager. And he said, well, you lied to me. You said you didn't do anything, but you clearly violated her.
Absolutely.
So if you don't get out of the club, we're going to curb stomp you. And if you don't say sorry, something else will happen.
This is the backup you need, because you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position.
He wasn't going to curb stomp him. He was just going to tell him to fuck off. But, you know.
But the sentiment was there.
Yeah.
Like, if you need someone to tell them that's not okay, because it's that customer's always right mentality. The customer ain't always right, especially if they're going to violate you like that. It's awful.
It's not happened too often, but it's something you need to be conscious of if you ever do go into this kind of line of work, you know.
Yeah.
And you always need to like have an eye out for cameras as well.
True.
You know, I suppose like you don't mind people like, is cameras taking pictures and performances?
I always say like, never film a whole act, because people will do that and then put it online. It's just like silly, because it ruins it for everyone else that's coming later on to see you. Usually we have, you can't avoid an iPhone now. Even if you tell people to put them down, they'll generally just take pictures of you anyway. I just always say, if I look bad, don't tag me. But, you know, I don't mind. As long as my like, you know, pasties aren't up all over the internet, that's fine. I mean, they are generally, but, you know, just have some decorum about what you post on Facebook and Instagram.
With burlesque, is it the nipple tassel always stays on, or does it get taken off?
It depends on your venue, your licensing, that kind of thing. Generally, as a standard, your pasties stay on. If you're doing more of the late night shows, not so much in London, but more abroad, they come off sometimes.
Yeah.
But a lot of places you perform, especially some places in America that I perform, like you have to have safety pasties underneath, so like a nipple cannot be showing in any way, shape or form.
Isn't it weird that we have that relationship with nudity?
Weird. Like, how is a female the female nipple, like, I just don't get it. Like, it's so confusing.
But I'm a bit like that, you know. I don't think I'm naked if my nipples are covered up.
No, like on stage I'm practically in a suit if I'm wearing a G-string and pasties.
Conservative.
Yeah, it's like that's, you know, nothing.
But it's interesting that these two little circles that are on your chest have such power. And like people write laws that they can't be shown and whatnot.
It's because they give life, baby.
But do they? They're not even a sexual organ.
No, I suppose it's like if you're...
They provide some food.
They provide, sustenance and... Nutrition to those that are able to do that when they have children. I suppose, I don't know. World is ruled by men and they hate tits, apparently.
My friend was telling me that a friend of her, it sounds like a friend of a friend, but my friend had a friend who had a baby, and her husband and her obviously, like, you know, had a very good sex life before said baby happened, but now the husband is jealous that the baby gets to spend more time with the boobs and the nipples than he does.
Boy,
how weird.
It's like, that's Freudian, you know?
Yeah. But also, like, there's stuff in there, like, that's not for you, it's for the baby.
You. I did have a friend recently that was
you can go back to it one day.
Yeah, she was auctioning off shots of her breast milk at a drag show in Berlin. It was so funny.
I mean, did you have a shot?
I didn't have a shot, no. I was unfortunately not there. I just got told about it the next day. I was so jealous.
Are you vegan?
No. Is it vegan if it's from a human?
I don't know. This is a moral question.
Yeah, the moral quandary.
So when you are like nude on stage, is there anyone you look out into the audience, you're like, oh, I wish you didn't see me naked? Or
not generally, like I'm, you know, it's a free for all. I do like, because my style of burlesque, I like to really connect with my audience. I like to look in their eyes. I like to, you know, I'm performing for them. I do generally like to find the one person who looks like they either don't know where they are or they're very upset that they're there. And that's the person I choose to look at and really direct,
double down
everything to, because they deserve it the most.
But also, what's on the face? Is it awe? Is it jealousy? Is it kind of, you know, adoration? What kind of do you pick up on the face?
You can usually pick up, like, if a guy is there and he's obviously been, like, brought by his significant other.
Because it's a classy date night, right? Isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's fun. But there's generally, like, I'm not sure that I'm meant to be looking at this right now vibe in their face.
That's interesting, because a lot of people won't know that a lot of people who do go to burlesque performances are couples.
Yeah.
Like heterosexual couples. Yeah. Sometimes two gay men. Why not? Yeah. But it's interesting that, you know, like this dynamic that some people could never imagine going to see such an act with their partner, because it might bring up feelings of jealousy or I'm not enough. But I think that only comes from when you have this relationship of finding nudity a bit problematic and a possessive thing. Yeah. You know?
Like, nudity is just for the person that you're in a relationship with, and that is it. Like, I lived in Germany for a while, and like from Australia, like we have a very different view of nudity. Like, everyone's quite covered up. I think it's very British as well. And then when I was living in Germany, I was like going to saunas and spas and stuff, and like everyone's just out and free.
Yeah.
And everyone together, and it's like not even a thing. I'm like, it's so much healthier in that way to have that attitude. And I think it also then decreases this like weirdness around like I maybe it's just because I've been doing it for so long, but burlesque to me, I'm like, it's not even like sexy. Like, I don't go out on stage and be like, I'm gonna be sexy. Like, that's like, it's more like fun and like maybe a bit raunchy and naughty, but I don't know, it's meant to be fun for everyone involved, not just me.
There's kind of a saying that I'm going to butcher, but I'll just kind of describe it around like people when they go on stage and they're stripping, and it's specifically in stripping rather than burlesque, walk onto the stage and act like you don't even want to acknowledge that these men are here. You cannot be bothered. You don't want to see them. You don't care about them. And that brings them in more.
Yeah.
Like, don't even make eye contact with them.
Treat them mean, keep them keen.
Seem a bit annoyed at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that though.
But it does work.
Yeah. You know, there's a certain element of like, you're down there, I'm up here.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't even
you need to worship me now, please.
It's a bit dominatrixy.
Yeah. But that's all about performance, and especially, you know, stripping and burlesque have in common. It's about like a control element and a power play as well. And that's really important, because if I was, you know, naked in the street and someone was looking at me, it'd be different than when I'm naked on the stage, because there is a power play there.
I mean, you did say something that I did want to get your thoughts on there about nudity, but to explain, I recently was online and I saw a clip of Miley Cyrus, who's like one of my childhood heroes.
Oh yes, Disney Miley.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see the journey she's gone on of being, you know, Disney Christian, like poster girl, into evolving through her own sexuality, and then she went through her bangers era, which with the foam finger,
questionable performances there, but not, you know, just because they were tacky.
But it was just essentially a young person evolving through their expression,
finding who they are in front of the entire world. Like, can you imagine how horrible that would be? But
the money was in the bank and it got done.
True.
But she did a podcast with Monica Lewinsky, who doesn't need any description. But basically, she said in the podcast, you know, in that bangers era, essentially what she learned is that the men she was with had a problem with her in her performance having nudity and having expression, because in a way she was taking that thing away from them, the thing that was meant for them.
Yeah.
And that was something that really stood out to me. And I thought it would stand out to you today.
It definitely does. Like, I've had relationships in the past where, you know, what I do is no secret. They've generally, you know, that's been appealing to them, what like I do when they first gotten with me. And then it soon becomes a bit of a thorn in their side. And whether or not they kind of can identify what that is or not, you do notice that behavior changes, and there's like a slight resentment, and it's like, well, I'm not, you know, you got what you paid for. I'm not like stopping what I do because you have some weird insecurity about, you know, having your toy shared with someone else.
But isn't it interesting? It's either I love what you do, like I can't believe that I have the hottest like thing, versus I can't, no, you can't do this. There's nothing in between.
I remember dating this guy that, you know, he knew what I did when we got together.
Because there's a flex to have someone who does that as well sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, he has a consistency to date a lot of strippers and burlesque dancers since then still, but he would like do this thing where like I'd be walking home after a show and I'd be dragging my suitcase, and one of his friends would be like, oh, you want to take our suitcase for her? And he'd be like, no, she can carry it. And it was like this punishment for like
being sexy,
doing exactly what I did in general, like all the time. And it was so weird.
This is why you always need to pick an ugly guy to be with. It's why you need to pick like men who are, you know, like I find the men who are quite, you know, superficial into their looks often are the most bothered about, you know, their woman stripping off or being okay with nudity or more comfortable. And it's probably like an insecurity thing.
Yeah.
And also like years and years and years and years of like religion being in our lives and thinking that, you know, like a woman's body belongs to like a more patriarchal way of thinking. But your body is your own. Like that's your thing to choose what you show to the world. Like as you said, like you can choose to be with me or be not with me.
Yeah.
You know, it's up to you, but you can't like tell me what to do with it and what not to do with it.
Exactly. Feminism is about having autonomy over your body.
But then you get into the Bonnie Blue of the situation where, you know, it's one message where we've said, yeah, you can do whatever you want with your body. but then you've got someone kind of taking that message out, maybe with more malign, and then manipulating it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're at a stage where like there's so much available and so much on offer as like what you can consume, the content around like female forms and feminine forms, and you know, where does it go? What's wrong? What's right? Who's making the rules?
Who gets to approve it?
Who gets to approve it? That's, yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, you as the individual, the person who lives in your body every day is the final person who gets approval.
Yeah. If you can wake up every day and say, I'm quite happy with how I spend my life and what I do with my body, then screw it.
Yeah. And it's also turned into a bit of a tagline. Like, a lot of, if you go into America, like Republicans and conservatives love to, you know, satire in itself, you know, oh, here's a feminist saying her body, her choice.
God,
well,
yeah.
You numbnuts haven't grasped the concept, have you?
No. They're missing something there. It's control.
It is control at the end
because
of the
if
day.
they let us do what we wanted to do, then it'd be over for those bitches.
But isn't it interesting that that's a fear? Like,
it is a fear because women are powerful.
But then again, like, why are you scared of a girl? Why are you scared of a girl having the choice to do what she wants? Like, what's so scary about that?
They know that we won't like them too much if...
They just want to be liked as well.
They do. It's like, just want to be accepted. They want everyone to be chill. They're lucky all we want is equality and we don't want vengeance.
So with your performances specifically, what is it that you enjoy? Is it the storytelling? Is it the idea of voyeurism? Is it the opportunity to connect with an audience? What is it actually within your specific act do you cherish?
So it's a little bit of everything. I love coming up with the concept, building it, creating the costume, finding the music, and then, you know, the performance side of it is kind of the cherry on top of everything. Going out there and performing something that I know is 100% me and something that's come from somewhere inside me. I don't generally know where that is. There's something very, very satisfying about having people scream for something that's come just, you know, from a moment of thought, and I've built it, you know. I
mean, it's interesting because I guess you get to powwow with some of the audience members after and connect with them. Do they often, what your vision for the performance is and the inspiration behind it and the world building, is it often the same thing that they would guess? Does it match, or is it quite different because of the different interpretations? Again,
it really depends on the act. Like, I have a suffragette act that is very straightforward, like female superhero style thing.
Yeah.
And there's no real mincing of that argument. Like, you can kind of get it. But then you'll have, like, I have another act called I Only Have Eyes for You.
Yeah.
And it's, my idea of that act is it's playing off the concept of love and making it a bit weird and off and uncomfortable. But if someone comes up to me after I do that act and they say that was weird, I'm like stoked, because that's what I want.
It's what it's meant to be.
That's what it's meant to be. But then, you know, some people will come up and be like, oh, that's, you know, funny, or da da da, and sometimes the point isn't brought across, but they still got something from it, you know.
But isn't that always the case with art, that once you release it to an audience or into the world, that you have to be okay with people aren't gonna...
It's very much open to interpretation, and I like hearing people's interpretations of stuff as well, because sometimes it's wild.
I think it's interesting that you always see it as like a woman performing on stage, but I've heard of pockets of men who do burlesque as well.
Listen, burlesque is built off like you know, females, queer, trans. We have boylesque performers. You know, it's always been a space for all types of bodies. It's not just about, you know, skinny white girls getting up on stage. So yeah, there is like a very large community of all body types on stage in our industry. I think it's something that needs to be much more in the forefront. But yeah, Burlesque is a good hoot, and a lot of shows, they're always like the ones who get the biggest cheers when you've got a female audience. So
yeah, it's probably a smaller pocket of men doing Burlesque as opposed to girls doing Burlesque. But I think performing, obviously, it gives you a certain freedom, doesn't it? You know, in your day-to-day life. I know when I started dancing, it kind of let me drop my shoulders a little bit when I'm dancing, like at a club or at a party or something. Or it made me feel it's actually not that deep. Like, it doesn't matter if people don't get this thing, or, you know, even just like connecting with movement in your body. And I just wondered, like, what the world would look like if people had a better, more rounded relationship with expression and dancing and that kind
just
of thing.
Letting yourself be a bit freer in front of other people, you know. I think our world would be a lot more lovely and colourful, that's for sure. Probably a bit more peaceful if we weren't all trying to like hide behind some mask at all times.
I think as well, like, you know, when you see someone with 2 left feet, or they've got wooden hips and they're dancing, and they can try, but I often wonder if you kind of like exposure therapy, put them through an experience like yours, would that make them more free and more, well, less tense, I suppose?
I think even speaking from like having students over the years that have started off like never dancing before and feeling like, you know, they don't like understand or like live in their body. Once you kind of go through a while of training and moving, and like even just telling people to touch their arm, touch their chest, touch their body, and like live in what this meat sack is. It does, like, it can transform people, and it can, you know, people can learn to exist in this a lot easier.
Like, you shouldn't be rigid in your own body, because you're going to live inside of it for long enough.
Yeah.
God willing, God hoping.
Exactly.
But what do you think it is that's like healing about people going through, as you said, your students with that transformation of going into burlesque? Like, what is the healing quality that actually helps people? Like, I'm trying to get into the intrinsic thing that actually is beneficial for people through dance and movement and whatnot.
I think the learning side of it, I would say there's 2 different sides of it. There's a lot of the time people say, you know, oh, do you find burlesque empowering, or anyone can do it and it's an empowering experience? I would say that's not true.
Why does everything have to be so empowering?
I don't need to be empowered. Like
Starbucks, good. Is that empowering? Going to the office, is that empowering? Taking your dog out for a shit, is that empowering? Why does like a woman getting naked have to be empowering?
I think if you're gonna get up on stage, you have to be empowered to do it already. But on the flip side of it, learning to exist in your body through movement, through dance, through like things that make you grounded and a bit more in touch with, like, you know, all of this, that can only do good for your body and your soul, because we're very detached from that as, you know, a Western society at least.
You can always tell with families who've got a mother and a father who are more attached to it, and you can see the kids are more free and, you know, you can just see, you know, a relationship between a parent and a child who have maybe more rigid ways of moving or whatnot, even though it is an inherent skill to dance and stuff. But it's always interesting watching, you know, parties or discos or clubs and watching how people dance. Like, that's one of my favorite hobbies.
I love people watching. I don't really like dancing when I'm like out, but watching people dance I enjoy, because it shows you so much about who a person is, like how they hold themselves, how they look around at other people. Like, it just shows you, because it's, you know, it's again putting yourself in a vulnerable position in a way, and it's like what you've been taught, whether or not that's okay or whether or not it's something kind of naughty to have fun.
Honestly, I advise you, if you can, listener or viewer, push your couches to the sides of the room, make sure it's only you in a room, put the music on you want to do, and just dance the way you want to dance.
Absolutely.
To music. Like, I think that's the best like exercise one can do to just unlock.
Shake your ass in your living room. I do that a lot. Shake it off.
I mean, can burlesque ever be like throw it back?
Yes,
really,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, you've got to watch them. Yeah, I'll give you some recommendations.
What's the variation in styles that you've seen over the years? Because you're far more.
You can kind of honestly do anything now. You've got performers who are very classic and based on classic moves, you know, the real glamour show girl, and then you've got performers who are like throwing it down. Like I'll give you some recommendations, but like you can really do anything with it. There's also like a Mr. Bean act going around at the moment, and he's just hilarious. And
interesting.
It's like like Mr. Bean dancing style. It's perfection. His name's Callum. It's amazing.
So that is burlesque.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So it's like the element of a striptease who's Mr. Bean.
It's also the element of reinvention you get to do. You get to reinvent yourself every night. Like people in the day-to-day lives often don't think that they get to reinvent themselves. The person they're stuck with who they were yesterday is the person they have to be.
Yeah.
But as
lies.
Absolute lies.
Absolute lies.
But you go on stage each and every night and get to maybe do the same act, but get to reinvent the version of it. And I think that's such a transferable thing into people's day-to-day lives with creativity and play.
I think even like playing with your wardrobe on a day-to-day is so important. Like you can change up who you are just by putting together an outfit, and you can live something a bit different on the daily if you want. And we just get to do it in a very flamboyant way.
I mean, what else can people do to reinvent their lives on like small micro levels? Because I appreciate not everyone's going to get their tits out and put a feather boa.
Just come to one of my classes.
Exactly.
Go to Soho Burlesque School and have a look around and see what you like. But just like stepping outside your comfort zone, listening to something you wouldn't, you know, say is generally up your alley, talking to someone you would not usually talk to, anything, just opening your world up a little bit wider and, you know, have a bit more fun.
So we're now nearing the end.
Yes.
But what I wanted to ask was, obviously you have you, Dee Dee in real life, and then you got Dahlia the performer.
Yes.
So like how different are the two things?
They are very intrinsically linked. I would say that's generally because, you know, my entire adult life I have been doing this, and it is a big part of who I am. But, you know, there are days when I'm very introverted, very shy, very, you know, dark and down in the dumps, but you kind of can put on a show face and step into that other world. It's like that show must go on mentality.
Showgirl.
Yeah, you step into that other part of your personality, and it gives you a bit of an escape, which is great.
I think as well, like the skill of just being able to, you know, the idea of the world is falling apart or your world is falling apart and everything's going wrong, but you have that muscle of being able to switch it on, go on stage and do the performance that you're meant to do. It's a scary thing for other people because it means you're powerful. You can just switch it on and do it.
Some of the best performances of my life have been on some of the worst days of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can believe that. Yeah,
and like that switch, I think it's something that is intrinsically something a performer, a true living ass performer has, that like you can just switch and go into that, and it is very powerful. I think it can be. We do need to absolutely find more of a balance.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a skill, that's for sure.
It is a skill, and you can probably find little pockets of it in your own life. Like, we can all rise to the occasion.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, the final question Are you ready?
Yes.
Don't worry, it's not going to be anything like horrid. What does the word expression mean to you?
It means putting a little bit of your soul out into the world for people to see.
Okay, that's beautiful. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at thediamondd, on TikTok, and I don't know my handle and I barely know how to use it. And yeah, you can find me on weekends at Soho School of Burlesque, teaching bump and grind as well.
We will link you in all the bios, so don't worry.
All the things.